Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bry Guy and welcome back to the Su-27 Ultimate Argument Campaign. So we are on mission number 2. It is titled The Evening of the 8th, and it takes place, apparently, on the 8th of August 2011. And I was just thinking about the background here, and we've got Russia fighting Georgia, but this was a real conflict that took place in 2008. Russia and Georgia went to war for 5 or so days. And there was a straight-up invasion by Russian forces, and Russian-backed militants in Georgia were trying to separate from the state because of growing ties to the West and decisions to try and get into NATO and things like that. But I think that's the basis for this campaign, and I think most of the missions in DCS. I mean, that's the Black Sea map was around before 2008, I believe, when this conflict originally took place. But yeah, now it's definitely a good place to have, well, a war zone, really. So today we are leading another cap flight, obviously, in the Su-27, and we are bringing our troops south through the Roki Tunnel. And it looks like we're walking into Georgia, and we're just going to see what happens. The primary goal is to provide safe passage of our troops from the tunnel to the town and deploying in battle order. You'll have to patrol along the whole Transcaucasan, gosh, that's a tough one, Transcaucasan Highway, which runs along the greater Lyakvi River. Your task is to prevent any attempts of air attack on our ground forces. You will patrol in elements. Okay, so we're patrolling along the Greater River, Lyakvi River, between waypoints 2 and 3, and the task is to prevent air attacks on our ground units. So we take off and land in Mazatec with our divert field is Beslan, and our call sign is 131. Battle command is Raskat, like it was last time, and our second element is 133, also like it was last time, and it looks like it's a decently warm day out. We have no known threats at this time, but a little bit of turbulent wind going on here, and we take off in the evening. Alrighty, and welcome back to the cockpit of the Su-27, and just because we didn't do it before, we're going to go flip through the rest of the images in this briefing here. And it looks like, obviously, we take off from Mazatec, we fly south along to the Russia-Georgia border, and we are patrolling just inside Georgia, it seems. So we'll see what happens. And there's the Roki Tunnel, which traverses the mountain range in between the two nations, and we are going to follow our convoy down. Make sure they don't get hit by anything. And let's go. Step on the brakes, a little desynchronous throttle position there. Let's go ahead and turn off these ugly labels. But yeah, so there's 2. Alright, looks like we're standard loadout here, no ECM.
131. Ассистент. Разрешаю руление на полосу 26.
Alright, cleared taxi runway 26, so we are headed this way. Turn on our gear and runway lighting, or taxi lighting. And I'm definitely going to take into account the lessons that we learned for last mission, so radar on early and radar on often. We want to have good situational awareness of the battle area, and we want to know exactly who's where at all times. And we're probably not going to send in 2 right away, depending on the kind of threat that we see. Alrighty, there's a little bit of a crosswind here, but I'm sure it's nothing we can't handle. Good old sun. I wonder if by the time we take off, if it'll be dark. But I guess we'll see. going to try for a non-afterburner takeoff, and of course, spiking our RWR is a short-range SAM, which should be right next to the airfield, presumably. Okay, and let's go ahead and ask for a takeoff.
Ассистент, 131, взлет.
131. Ассистент. Взлет по готовности. Отход по схеме на 300 по давлению 746,42.
Alright, so we are cleared for takeoff. Let's go ahead and get on the runway. Wait for 2. I think 2 is going to wait for us, so alright. Brakes on, run them up. Go ahead and turn on our cockpit lighting. Temps look good. Everything looks good. Okay, here we go. Alright, positive rate, gear up. And 400, flaps up. Trim nose down. And we'll throttle back for 2. Check left to steer point 2.
Раскат, 31 взлет, левым на курс 185.
131, раскат. Набор 5000, курс 185.
131 понял, набор 5000, курс 185.
Okay, we are cleared to fly up to 5,000 meters, heading 185. Sounds good to me.
Второй. Шасси убрал.
And we should find that 2 forms up relatively close.
Второй. Занимаю строй.
I'll tell him go formation, close formation.
Звену, сомкнуться.
Второй. Принял.
Continuing our steady climb. Now you might notice something a little different between this mission and the last one. I installed my mods back again, and one of my mods that I use is I think it's Toby's Low and Slow, or one of those enhanced terrain modifications. So what you see here might be different than what you see in your version of DCS World, but I didn't install anything else really. I did do the smaller sun mod, just because the glare looking up at the sun can be a little overwhelming sometimes, but I think it looks just great the way it is. I didn't install any cloud mods, I didn't install any HDR mods. Those, I know those screwed up some stuff. But the terrain mod's really nice. It does use a tiny bit more resources, but I think it's worth it. And there's 2. Looking good. Okay, so I'm just going to go over our loadout here. So we have 4 R-27ERs, 2 ETs, and 4 73s. So that seems normal to me. And we've just about got 2 in position. And tell you what, I will see you back when we hit our ingress steer point. I'll come back when something happens.
Второй. Облучение Земли. 11 часов.
Okay, welcome back. We just had a mud spike at our 11 o'clock, and we are about 20 miles from the second steer point, which is the Rookie Tunnel. Just crossing over the mountains now. And we'll be heading down into Georgia. They should have called this the evening train into Georgia instead of the midnight train to... Yeah, never mind. Anyway, bad jokes aside, I think that's about gonna do it for this episode. Once we hit the steer point, I think there's gonna be a little bit of dialogue that pops up, and we'll call it there. But gosh, this is really pretty, I have to say. Eagle Dynamics did make a very beautiful game.
Второй. Облучение с Земли. 10 часов.
It looks like what's spiking us is a medium range SAM, presumably a SA-11 of some sort. Let's go ahead and report on station.
Рассказ.
Второй. Облучение. 1 час. Второй. Облучение. 1 час.
Слушайте по заданию.
Alright, we are on station and orbiting. I'm going to go ahead and call it here. I will see you next time.